It's time for another ARC book review, and this time it is The Truth of Our Secrets by Heather Leighson. I hope I'm pronouncing that last name correctly. I really love this book. It is an MMF, which it's been a hot minute since I've read one of those. So I will say I was a little hesitant, I guess, just because it's been a while since I've read one. But let me tell you, this has actually made me want to get back into reading MMF books. So in this book, we follow Madison, Emmett, and Jace. And if those names sound really familiar, we were introduced to them in The Truth of Our Past, in Alec and Vaughn's story. So I will tell you, this book does kind of actually follow a good portion of the plot from The Truth of Our Past. I want to say maybe the last 30 to 40% of it. So I would recommend reading that book first because you might get spoiled on some things that happen with that. But we get to follow these three individuals, and like I said, we kind of got to see them a little bit in the previous book, and we recognize that there was just kind of something going on between them. And we learn more about them. So we learn, more about Emmett, who is the youngest out of all three of them. And when he was in high school, he was introduced to Madison, who was a substitute teacher. Emmett had a really bad, really rough family home life, and Madison was kind of the first teacher / adult to really kind of recognize that and try to attempt to help him. So obviously a crush grew. And nothing really happened at that point. I think there was a mutual kind of interest from both of them, but she recognizes that this was a child basically, and she wasn't going to do anything with him. Then we have Madison, who is kind of, I would say, really the anchor out of everything, in this kind of throuple. She really anchors Jason and Emmett together, but Madison has her own history, her own past, her own kind of things that she is working, to heal from. And then we have Jace. Now, Jace is really possessive and kind of jealous and protective, especially of Madison. So in the beginning, he does not like Emmett at all. He has his reasons. I will tell you, he does have his reasons, and they make sense. And likewise, Emmett kind of doesn't like Jace. Again, has his reasons. There's a bit of a, I won't say miscommunication, but more of not knowing the full story from the two of them. They each think that they know what's going on and the true story of what's happened, but they really don't. I know that sounds really vague, but once you start reading, you'll truly understand what I'm talking about. But even though these two kind of don't really like each other, like I said, Madison is really the anchor out of them. And they obviously also have some sparks. So slowly but surely, they all do come together. And let me tell you, when they do, it's amazing. Now, obviously, I can't talk about a Heather book without talking about the spice, and she delivers. Miss Ma'am, the office scene. I was outside with my dog reading this on my phone and had to put my phone away because my face was bright red. Everyone could know what I was reading. That office scene was absolutely amazing. So if you were looking for some really good spice, really good dirty talk, you're gonna love this book. All the spice scenes were really well done. They flowed perfectly. One thing I really did love too is it wasn't just solely focused on them having sex. It was also a very big emotional connection. Every sex scene that they had really helped to kind of build, develop, and push their relationship further. So you never really felt oh, okay, they're just having sex. It's no, there's actual conversations going on. There's barriers being broken down during this. There's, a real moving forward in our relationship with these specific scenes. So now we do get some cameos from Alec and Vaughn, and then also my absolute favorite couple, Shane and Cole. They do pop up. We do get cameos from them. I really kind of enjoyed getting to see them and see them kind of, still all this group kind of just still all being together. Obviously, again, if you've read the previous book, you know that Madison and Alec, they're kind of have some issues with each other. That kind of starts to impact a little bit more of the friendships and relationships amongst everybody. So like I said, you do want to read that book before you dive into this one. So we also do have I would say, very narcissistic and abusive ex that is an ex of both Jace and Madison's, who kind of pops up, causes some issues. And, these three really do have to kind of come together to kind of handle this situation. I think it'd be fair to say that these three are incredibly broken characters. They're broken in very individual ways. Emmett having a mother who has, done drugs. She has psychological issues. He's basically had to be an adult since he was 7 years old, had to take care of his sister. He's just, under a lot of pressure and a lot of debt. He's still trying to take care of his mom. So he's just he struggles to really also ask for help. So we see him kind of in this book very slowly but surely recognize that it's okay sometimes to ask for help. Sometimes we can't handle everything on our own, and it is okay for other people to help us out when we're in a bind. We see him still kind of struggle with that a little bit, but slowly but surely he kind of realizes this is an okay thing. For Madison, I love Madison. I think the biggest character development for her is her realizing that she can't meddle. And I say that in the nicest way possible, but again, if you read the previous book, she kind of meddles a little bit in Alec and Vaughn's relationship. It doesn't go well. I also feel like she does meddle a little bit between Jace and Emmett, and I don't feel like her meddling helped their relationship. I think it was truly the two of them coming together that helped it. So I think she just kind of slowly over time realizes that sometimes it's okay to just kind of step back and let people kind of do their own thing. But she also has a really bad history and a really bad past. Most especially, it does deal with SA. There's no SA on screen or on page. But, she just, learning to really trust the individuals around her and be more open and honest with them. And then we have Jace. Jace, who, is a former hockey player. I loved having the hockey in this. And, he had a really shitty father, put it nicely. That's actually really the only way to put it. And his dad, basically made Jace develop this intense fear or anxiety about going in front of cameras. So we see him kind of slowly start to barriers and walls kind of get pushed down, where he realizes sometimes it's okay to rely on other people, and it's okay to have them be there to help you, and you don't always have to do everything on your own, especially during a specific scene where he kind of feels to protect the ones that he loves, he kind of has to step away. Slowly, I think he starts to learn that sometimes, while it's great to be protective of the ones you love, sometimes they can protect themselves, and you don't need to sacrifice yourself for everything. Like I said, I absolutely loved this book. It was the perfect amount of spice, the perfect amount of angst, and a really great storyline. And I have found that with all of Heather's books. And like I said, my absolute favorite one is Shane and Cole, which is The Truth of Loving You. Will by far be my favorite book out of Heather's. I really truly think everyone should read this. Like I said, if you are really looking for, to kind of, if you've been reading FF or MMF, and you enjoy that, this is a really good book for you. If you're kind of I haven't really read that yet, it's not a trope or relationship dynamic that I've read yet, this would be a really good one to start. You have some really great scenes and really amazing characters. So The Truth of Our Secrets does come out October 17th. I can't recommend this book enough. I absolutely enjoyed it and loved it. I really think people are going to enjoy and love it as well. There are some content warnings I think you should definitely check out. Off the top of my head, I do know that there is, some past forms of abuse, some mental and verbal type things. There is, a parent who had drug addiction and mental health. So just really kind of make sure you're checking the content warnings and keeping your own mental health in mind when you look at this book. But again, it comes out October 17th. I think you're really going to enjoy it, and I can't wait to see what Heather writes next.